with Ranboo and me, Hank Green. Unfortunately, Hank Green can't actually be here today, so I've filled in. I know, I'm sorry. So,
I love the hat.
Thank you. I'll be filling in.
I like your music.
That chair there. So now, though, if you could all give the same wonderful, warm welcome to
Tommy.
our beloved Ranboo.
Love the hat.
We can't hear you. You're not on.
I'm gonna take a selfie.
Give it again. Yeah?
Wait.
There we go. Give a speech, King. Give a speech. Come on, give a speech.
I shouldn't go there. I don't know what to say.
I do agree with that.
Speech! 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 Speech!
I need the mic. The mic doesn't work.
Does this mic
Sure.
work? So, hello. So, Hank Green sadly couldn't be here, so I asked Wilbur if he could be Hank Green, and we have some questions. This is going to be just a nice, little conversation about some things. We might have time at the end for QnA as well. So yeah, I think it'll be great fun. I think it'll be all right. We're just gonna talk about this is more of a creator track thing. So we're actually gonna talk about some more strategy, some more like stuff about both Wilbur and I's content creation journey in general. So yeah.
Oh, welcome. I actually have Hank Green's notes, so if you guys want to pretend I'm Hank Green, that's absolutely fine as well.
Yeah, we can do that.
Hi. So how are you? How's your day been?
I'm doing good. I woke up to a DM from Hank Green.
This is going to be the main theme of this talk. Anyway, so if you don't mind me just reading this, it seems to me like you have ideas and then you just sort of do them. Is this an illusion? Do you have any ideas for things that you don't have time for right now?
Yes. Yeah, no, I have a lot of ideas in my mind constantly of basically, I'll see a certain thing or a certain activity or object or something, and I'll come oh, that'd be a fun stream to do this random thing. I'm pretty sure I saw one comment that was just oh, it'd be kind of funny if you just worked at a Taco Bell for a stream. You just work out for
really good.
Yeah, no, I've been thinking on that. I'm yeah, so there's a lot of ideas, and then there's a lot of times where I'll say an idea and I just stuff will fall through, or I just straight up just won't do it. There's a lot of videos that I've done, but with the ones, the way that I handle my ideas and everything is I just kind of make sure to write them down, and then if there's a really good one, then I actually make sure to think about it more often than the other ones. Really.
Cool. How do you think you strategize those as a creator though? Because obviously you can have some great ideas that you, as Mr. Ranboo, wants to do, right? But how do you know that everyone else wants to watch it? How much do you weigh out the ideas for how good they are in a viewership sense as well as how much you enjoy them sense?
I would say honestly at this point, because of how just slightly volatile views are at this point, I don't know what will do well. I have no idea what will do well and what won't do well, or what won't do well initially, and then what will randomly do well just way later on, a VOD or something.
Right. How in the Twitch space does that work? How do things grow over time, would you say, in the Twitch space?
I say Twitch is a platform in which people go to the platform. It's not like YouTube or TikTok where people go because they want to watch a YouTube video, or they go because they want to just watch different TikToks. People go to Twitch for a specific person rather than oh, I just want to watch a random Twitch stream. People usually log on to Twitch because they have a certain person that they want to watch. So I would say the biggest way to grow the viewership on Twitch is by being everywhere else but on Twitch, because it's really difficult to kind of advertise yourself on Twitch, simply because there's already so many people that are doing that exact same thing. So what you have to do is you have to go into other places, you have to go into TikTok and everything, which is how I started everything, or you have to go onto YouTube or Twitter, or just basically every other platform besides Twitch, because Twitch is the end goal for if you want to become a streamer, then Twitch would be the end goal for your viewership, but you have to let people know that you're going to be on Twitch and like when you're going to be on Twitch, in order to be able to get that viewership.
See, I did that similar strategy, but I had to start on YouTube because I'm a boomer who doesn't understand TikTok even to this day. And for me on YouTube, it was pretty simple. The method was put the chat on the screen at all times so people are aware. This was done on Twitch, you know, and linked to the beginning with a big black screen, filmed at twitch.tv, blah blah blah. You know, that was the way, at least for me, to push from YouTube to Twitch. How does that work on TikTok?
On TikTok, it's literally just blatant advertising.
Okay.
It's literally just straight up saying like, hey, I'm streaming at this point, or I'm doing this thing on Twitch, and like having just like a couple of little funny things throughout, so people actually watch it and go, hey, maybe I will go over here. But it's like, I remember for the first like 100 or 200 days, I was uploading like a TikTok every single day, where like the main focus of it would be to get people to watch me somewhere else, basically.
Yeah.
Or to get people to like watch me on Twitch. So I just have like really just blatant advertising of just like, hey, like I'm doing this on Twitch, or like here's a funny moment from my stream or my video.
How effective would you say that was? Do you think there might be some more effective ways that you haven't got to employ?
Oh, I'd say it was pretty effective for like the start, because TikTok has, I think, the most like chance of someone seeing your video when you're at 0 followers, 0 views, 0 likes, everything. Because like I had, the way that I found out about it was that I had a friend whose video got like 2 million views in like a couple of weeks, and they just like randomly posted it, and I was just like, huh. So you can just like go from like nothing to like 2 million views just because the algorithm decides that it wants you there.
Yeah.
So, I would say, sorry, give me a second. Okay, there you go. I would say that. Geez.
Might have the best method already.
Yeah, I know. I was trying to think of another method, but like honestly, I think that as of right now, TikTok is probably
Just blatant advertising is what you're
blatant
saying.
advertising.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That's very good. Let me just look at what Hank would have asked next. He says, what I like so much about what you do is it's new and a super compelling way of telling stories. Can you talk a little bit about how you first started doing that when you ended up on the SMP server? Can I just say before we carry on though, just to sort of ease the nerves in the room, me and Ranboo are massive fans of analog horror. We love that kind of stuff, right? The journey from when we were waiting to here was the most backrooms, yellow lighting, and Ranboo just kept nudging me, going, well, it's backrooms. Guys, it's backrooms. But yeah, I forgot the question. Do you remember the question?
I think it was like, how did I start doing storytelling?
Yeah, can you talk about how you first started doing that when you ended up on the SMP server?
Well, basically, I had no idea how to like begin like my like lore and everything when I started. I remember I was like, okay, so it's like kind of like casual, you know, or it's just like I'm getting like into it more with like Tommy and everything when I like burnt down George's house, and then yeah, that's gonna be.
I'm sure
really
that was
odd
fine.
when watches the dreams.
He's a pyromaniac.
Oh. Probably, if this thing didn't work out, I mean.
So for those of you that don't know, an SMP is a survival multiplayer server on the game Minecraft, and it's where me and Ranboo sort of had our like highest peak so far, at least.
Yeah,
it's been our like that's how I met him. It's how we became such close friends, and so that's what it was. And Ranboo joined a little bit after me. And his original start was you were a bit more of a slow burn into it, even though you had your, how many 1,000-word doc for your lore, for your backstory?
I forget how much, but I was just like, it was after the first like actual stream where I was just like, oh, I could like actually do like a cool lore thing.
Yeah.
Was I played a survival game with Charlie Slimesicle. Then afterward I was like, all right guys, let's chill. And then I didn't see where I placed like a certain book. And then I was just like, okay, what if I like made this an entire thing? And then I just started like freaking out, like I like acting like I was freaking out, and then I just like abruptly ended the stream. And then after that, I just like went, and I just started like writing down like, okay, this is what I'm doing so far, this is what I'm going to do, this is what could potentially happen. But then also when you plan out like a lot of like lore and everything, especially on like that kind of server, and I realized that really quickly, is that plans can change like, really, really fast. like someone doing like some like random thing like on their stream once can like offset like entirely like an entire like paragraph of that document.
Yeah.
Right? So I kind of overplanned in the beginning, and then I kind of like had to reel it back in a little bit. Where I was just like, okay, maybe we should take it like a little bit more casually, but still like kind of planned.
Exactly. And this backstory sort of fiction-driven server that we used to play on sort of grew into a very rich tapestry of basically, which was just fiction in Minecraft. It was just a continuous like story being told out through a very interesting medium, and I feel like that was what really got people hooked. Was it was such an interesting medium, and we were enjoying it so much as and yeah. That's good. Was that intimidating for you at all? That transition into the Twitch space and to where you are now?
Yeah. Wait. Did you say like the transition from?
If you excuse the words, nothing to everything. You said it yourself. 0 followers to millions.
Yeah. I would say that it was intimidating, and I'd say a lot of it still is. But I remember in the very, very beginning, like being like, I was so excited about like everything. Like I'd be constantly checking, like I had like the social blade like ticker basically like on my other monitor at all times, and I just like watch it. It was not healthy at all.
Can't do that.
Don't check things, especially because when you start to see them go down, like seeing them go up is really, really good, and you like feel really happy about it. But at the moment that they start to go down, you will start feeling like really sad. But basically in the beginning I was like, oh, this is so cool. Like I'm going here, like oh wow, I have like more subscribers than like this person that I used to watch. That's crazy. And then I realized that there are a lot of cons to content creation that no one tells you about and that no one really prepares you for.
Like what?
Like well, basically on Twitter, you can search up what people think about you. Right? And on every social media, you can search up what people think about you. And especially the way that you can fall into the trap of like obsessively checking it is like, you're just like, oh, I'm just getting feedback, or I'm just getting like, you know, like, oh, like someone's like critiques on my stream and everything. When in reality, it's just a bunch of random people just saying stuff about you that they are like saying like a passing thought that you're taking a lot more to heart. So having to deal with that as well was like was really difficult to deal with, and it's like still even like it's something that like no one can really like prepare you for, that kind of thing, where you're suddenly like thrown into, here are all these people, they will be watching you, they will tell you their opinion on you, whether you like it or not. It's gonna happen, and you just kind of have to deal with it. Like you're gonna have all these people like constantly watching your every move. Like, well, there's a lot of people that only specifically watch you just to see if you will mess up, so that they can get their like instant kind of gratification of like, there it is.
Exactly. And I think the important thing to remember is that the majority of these people are the minority. They are the small group of vocal people, because the average person who watches your content will not say a word. You know, they won't reach out to you, they won't even comment, they may not even hit like. They just watch it and enjoy it, and then when asked, hey, do you enjoy Ranboo? They'll go, yeah. Or no. Either way though. the ones going out of their way to ridicule you, and for any of you looking to sort of get involved in the Twitch and YouTube space, if they're looking to ridicule you as well, you need to realize which part of it is the vocal minority and which part of it is worth listening to. And there is some parts worth listening to. Not everything you see that's negative about you is hate. Yeah. Sometimes it can be a good thing to take that on board, especially what I found, especially talking to Tommy, was that Tommy's another YouTube creator who we work closely with. The thing about reading feedback is that normally the most educational space for it will be your comment section, because it'll have your majority fan base giving feedback. And obviously, again, don't go looking out for the hate, but you can usually use that as a good litmus test for the majority of thinking, not Twitter, not Tumblr, not Reddit, especially not Reddit. Yeah. Oh, very interesting. That's very good. And so, where do you think you go for your inspiration in your craft? I mean, we were talking about the back rooms earlier, so.
So just inspiration for character, or just inspiration in general?
Inspiration for, let's go for both. So again, we are part of a role-playing Minecraft server, which to some of you may seem very alien. The best way to think of it is, if you've ever done improv improv classes. Imagine that in front of hundreds of thousands of people. And you're playing Minecraft. You are in hockey characters is the best way. And we've gotten really into it. We've written entire backstories for our improv characters. We've got full future ideas and things. So I guess the question is, where do you get your inspiration for that specifically, but also just for where you're going in the future? Your other, I know you have some other projects, Generation Loss.
Woo!
Tell us about that. Tell us about your inspiration and where that's happened.
I think the biggest inspiration for, especially the Dream SMP character, in the very beginning of the first stream that I did, where I abruptly cut off everything, was actually from the community and what they made about it. Because they're just there's so many theories and everything that have been made where they're just what if this happens, or what if he's connected to this and everything. And I just went, that'd be cool. And I just kind of took it, and then I wrote it in. And that's I think that's still one of the biggest ways that I gain inspiration in general for other projects as well. It's I look at what the community is saying, what the community is doing, and I just go, okay, that's actually a really good idea.
It's the line draw with plagiarism though. And not saying you're a plagiarist. Where does the line blur between inspiration?
I would say when it's it would be when someone is writing out an entire comic story or something about it, and then I'm just okay, yeah, that works. But when someone, I remember especially for Generation Loss and one of the next teasers that I have planned, I looked at a fan art and then I completely misinterpreted what it was. You will not be able to find the original fan art, I don't think, simply because of how just awfully I interpreted what it was. But then my interpretation of it was oh, that'd be a good idea. And then I kind of took it there. So inspiration can come at pretty much, and this is really a sentence that's been said a lot before, but it can come from pretty much anywhere. It can come from seeing a certain object and being how can that object be used in this certain space. So I think just keeping a really open mind for inspiration will allow you to suddenly see a lot more oh, I could use this, or I could use a crowbar in this way. I didn't know that.
I won't ask why a crowbar specifically. So how is this new format dealing with you though? Because again, we're very used to improv, and in that space, how is having this new scripted, written format working for you? How is working in that space doing?
Oh, having an actual script in writing is really, it's a lot different from improv, because the way that I would describe the Dream SMP, especially during the kind of mid-later days of it, is it became a D&D campaign where everyone is their own dungeon master.
Woo!
Yeah, but it essentially became that, and going from having to interact with a bunch of people and then changing what you're doing based on what other people are doing as well, to being able to okay, I can write a whole story. It's a lot more calling, but then you also realize how much you have to include in a story as well. I never really understood why some scenes were in certain TV shows or certain movies, because I just wanted to skip to the good parts. But then you have to realize that some things are very necessary in order for that big scene to pay off.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I would say going from improv to scripted was it was good, because I feel improv definitely helps with scripts, because essentially when you're writing a script, the first draft of it is usually just what you improvise, and then you can go over it again and again. I think that's the key difference that I really like about it.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. As someone who's also come from improv to writing, I totally agree with that. So, game theory, huh?
Oh, God.
Game Theory is a YouTube channel which analyzes certain parts of maybe games, actually. It's strange that
games.
He's reaching out to new areas of analysis, and he's recently landed on your work, which is in its primordial stages, I'd say. Generation Loss is currently, it's just a teaser.
Yeah, it was ridiculous when I saw it.
How did that feel to have an hour-long analysis? Is it hour-long?
It's 15 minutes, but it's still based, when you think about it, on a 30-second clip.
I'd like to know Hank Green's notes.
it was so odd because the way that I found out about it was I was like setting up for MCC and I was like, all right, here we go. And I was like checking to see how my flying chat is doing. And then one of them was just like, oh yeah, I'm watching the Generation Lost like game theory. And I just went, that has to be a joke. No, I had no idea that it was happening. Like, and then I was just like, there's no way that this is real because I've only uploaded like 30 seconds and a couple of images. Like, I don't know what he's doing. And then someone said, oh, no, it's real. And I searched it up and I was just in disbelief and just in general shock. Mainly because I had only uploaded one 30-second clip. Like, that was the biggest thing. Like, I don't understand where that came from.
Were you worried you'd get too much right?
I wasn't worried he'd get too much right, honestly, because that one teaser has barely any information in it.
Imagine you got it just all right. Imagine if you just predicted the story.
He got a couple of things right, which I was really not expecting.
Woo!
But then there were a lot of things that made me laugh a lot after stream when I was like watching it again, just based on like, because of course when you give like really little information, there's a lot of room for interpretation. So it's completely fair that he went in some of the directions that he did, but a lot of them were just really funny to me because I was like, yeah, that's just not what's happening at all. That's ridiculous. Like I chose this photo because it would be kind of funny on some aspects. Like it was really cool.
That's how I felt as well. So you are as multi-platform as they come, Ranboo. You're on it all. Okay, you stretch across every multimedia facet that there is. Do you think you could tell us a little bit about what you like and dislike about each platform if I list them out to you? All the ones that you are notably massive on. If you could give us some pros and cons.
Okay.
TikTok.
TikTok, I would say a pro is the fact that literally any video can just randomly blow up and show up in places where it's just not supposed to be. Like, it's funny because
What do you mean by not supposed to be?
I mean in different communities that like regularly wouldn't watch you, or like people that regularly wouldn't watch you.
I see.
Like it would show up on like, because the biggest thing is like showing like the TikTok audios of me that have gone like, they're like, it's so funny because it's like there's like an EMT making a video using my audio of me reacting to Freddy Fazbear. Or it's like me saying that I didn't have enough money in Roller Coaster Tycoon and then realizing that it was I who was spending the money, so I went, oh, I'm the problem. And then suddenly people are just really sad and under, and I was like, oh, okay.
So the mimetic culture is a plus, that the fact that it's able to spread like that.
Yeah, I would say so, especially because you can show your content to people that like have like no idea who you are, who have just seen you, and if it's good, then they might like actually like find it, and that's really nice. And I'd say, a con. Well, a con is that they ban you randomly sometimes. Another con I would say would be. I honestly don't know if there's really many cons with that. I would say the biggest con is knowing, like, because the algorithm can be very like just really hard to like kind of get right, but you can also just accidentally get it right as well. Because you can just randomly have videos that just like get like 10,000 views when you usually get like 100,000 or something, or just like completely not. But then you could also get a video that has 100,000 views when you only have 10,000. So I feel like that kind of balances out that con.
What about YouTube?
YouTube.
I heard that in my accent. I really.
That's an active one.
The fact that you said YouTube when I'm up here.
Oh, right, okay, I see.
300 days.
So Ranboo hasn't uploaded in a little while, but he still has an extensive knowledge of the platform.
Yeah, I would say a really big like pro about YouTube is it's kind of like, I feel like it's like a step below like making like a TV show or something, right? Because you can put like as produced content as you want. You can like really like edit something, make something that you're proud of, or you could just like upload something that you have put no effort into at all, right? Like me spinning in a chair for 5 minutes. And the greatest thing is that either of those can do like well. Either of those like massively produced or just random like thing that people told you to do on the internet. Those can both do really well. And I really like that about the platform as well. What I don't like about the platform is the fact that a lot of creators feel like really they feel like they're like walking on like a minefield basically with the way that the guidelines are, especially with a lot of people right now, where like a lot of like videos will get like taken down because they're not like more like child friendly, but then the ad that plays is for like a random website that should definitely not be shown to children. Like, I saw that someone's like video got demonetized, and it was like straight up just like a really not good site that was being advertised on that video. So I feel like they have a couple of stuff to work out with that, and especially because I don't know the YouTube algorithm at all. But I would say that like it's very, very difficult to get right, especially when you're starting. It's very difficult for people that are like just starting, I'd say, for YouTube.
True. Yeah, I'd say my biggest advice for YouTube and understanding the algorithm is to watch YouTube. I know that sounds kind of boring and a bit obvious, but my biggest thing that I found was just by watching YouTube and seeing what's working for people in fields that I wanted to get involved in was very helpful for me, at least, as well. And finally, Twitch.
Ooh, I would say that the biggest thing that I really like about Twitch is simply because it's streaming. It's like going live, and then you're able to like have just like a bunch of people watch, and I can like do whatever. I can play like a random game that I find, or I can just sit there and talk, and then people will watch it. It's kind of like, it is the easiest, for me, it is like the easiest content that I can like know I can reliably put out and then have it be like all right. And I just really like also the chat function, I think as well, is like, it's one of my favorite things because it's just a beautiful hive mind of just everyone is able to contribute to this like one box on my screen.
Yeah.
And it is amazing because you'll see like a really well-crafted joke, right? And then you'll see someone that just accidentally typed like the letter M, and they can be equally as funny. And I really like that. Yeah, and then I'd say like the biggest con for Twitch would probably be a lot of the stuff that happens not necessarily on like a user end, but more on like the creator behind the scenes end, with a lot of like how like a lot of the functions are rolled out, how a lot of things happen with like ads and revenue and splits and all that. It's very like difficult to get your footing, especially for like new creators who don't get like help or like
Yeah. So you were saying about how you love the chat. Specifically about Twitch. So audience is a great way of getting validation for your content, but you need more than that. As a human being, you need your pillar of needs. So how do you get your validation and support outside of your audience?
Ooh, outside, so like not like nothing that the audience makes at all.
Outside the audience, yeah.
I would say when I laugh at my own like stuff that I'm making. That's when I get the biggest validation from it, because I'm just like, at least I find this funny, so I at least people maybe will. Because I was working on a project that I can't talk about yet, but it's not as like, that didn't deserve the ooh. And I was just laughing at how awful it was, basically, and I was like, that's how I know that I'm doing it well, because it's meant to be awful on purpose. So I'm really liking it. So that's how I get like validation from it, is like when I find it entertaining, or if it's something that I would watch. And I would say that's like the biggest thing that you can hit as a creator, is making content that when you rewatch it, like getting like over like, listening to yourself speak and everything, and your own voice, if you find it enjoyable, then you know that you're making content that you can be proud of, and also that other people may enjoy.
Yeah, I agree. So what are the things you are most proud of giving back to your audience?
Ooh, wait, giving back to my audience? Sorry, I didn't.
So you give back so much to your audience in terms of, entertainment. Is a lot of the time, I remember, for me at least, it was always very nice to open Twitch, and I'd always know I could see Ranboo. I'd always listen to your voice wherever I went, and what are you most proud of out of everything you've given back?
Ooh, I would say the biggest thing that I've been proud of is probably just the fact that I've been able to like at least feel like I've created something that not only people enjoy, but that can also like help people and everything. Because I was definitely a kid that like watched like YouTubers and everything, or like whenever I was like feeling like, oh man, I just like put on like just a random YouTuber's video and everything. And to know that to some people that I am like that source for them as well is like, it's really, really cool, because a lot of like one of my favorite things to see from the community is like just little like random things that like because I'll scroll through TikTok and I'll randomly see like, oh, like look at this clip. This was really funny, and it's like one of my clips, and I'm like, yeah, yeah. Just like I think that's like my favorite thing is when I see that someone's genuinely enjoying something that I made and it's providing them like a source of comfort, like outside of like, you know, whether or not like outside of like all like the drama between like communities and everything, outside of that, when you see people that are just genuinely just enjoying something that you make, that I think that gets me like, that's like the biggest thing that I'm proud of, is the fact that not only am I able to help a lot of people like with what I make, but I also am able to help myself with what I make as well, and be able to just have fun doing something that I genuinely enjoy, and then I'm also able to do really cool things because of it.
Amazing, amazing. I give you a round of applause. I'd like to thank Angry for those amazing questions. Yes, me, Angry. And I would also like to extend some questions to the audience. Do we have someone who can carry a mic?
I think we have someone that can
Someone who can bring a mic out. Yeah, sure. Otherwise I'm just running around. Otherwise, can we get it for? Go on, you choose the first one.
Oh, me choose the first one.
Yeah, you choose yours. Great.
Do they have someone?
I'm going to sit next to you as well now, Ranboo, so I'm not like halfway across the set. How you doing? Okay? I can't believe you're doing this to me right now.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I was busy.
Choose someone.
I'll choose you raising your hand. Yes. Sorry. That's the biggest thing about pointing, is that I always feel really, really bad.
So my question is, objectively, what is the best season? Not what is your favorite season, what is objectively the best season of the year?
Oh, the best.
Oh, season of the year, like of the like.
I thought you were gonna say like
spring, summer, autumn, winter. I was thinking, I like season 4 of The Office. I'm a summer guy. I'm a summer guy.
I'm winter actually.
Right now. Look, of course,
Did you not hear that she?
Not right now. Okay, no, but winter's valid. Winter's valid.
Do you want to choose one?
Yeah, I'll choose one. Let's go for waving at the front there. Right, very fun. We'll slowly move back.
Hello. So, my name's Talio, and recently I had this one experience with a big YouTuber appearing in their social experiment, which was really cool, but I wasn't able to exactly get, I guess it's any growth from it. So I was wondering, in the future, if I was to have another opportunity like that, what I could do to sort of push myself out there and let people know I exist.
Sure. Yeah. So I actually have experience in that very thing of being in something that someone much larger as me had made, and then trying to gain some type of traction for it. So essentially, I remember what I did was there was in the very beginning, whenever someone that was on the Dream with me would even remotely say my name, I posted about it. I said oh look at this, I can't believe this guy said my name, and I posted that on the TikTok and everything. So making your own content, especially if you were in some big YouTube or social experiment, right? Or making you.
I feel like I'd be the wrong person to answer that question.
I would say even just making a short video about it, right? Because you might not be able to get a full commentary style video, but even just a short video, just oh look at this different perspective of this of this same event that you've already seen. I would say that would probably be the best way to go about that kind of thing.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Cool. Shall we do? Let's do person with the tripod, holding the tripod up in the center. That's the tripod.
They really like the tripod.
Big tripod fans here. Yeah.
How do you feel about people like me making content based off of your content, or just right now?
Oh, that's a good question.
I mean, when you think about it, I think I actually prefer it. I actually really like it simply because it's good for both parties, right? It's good for you in the sense of you get to have content and everything, and then also having someone's like name on it can also like help boost it. But also, if it gains like attraction towards a new audience, it also helps the creator that you make it of as well. So I would say that I fully welcome it, because that's a lot of the way that creators like grow in the first place, and how things become really, really big is word of mouth, is people making content about the content that you're already making. I would say that I think that's a big reason why like the Dream SMP, besides like Tommy's videos as well, got like really, really big, is because I saw like a ton of clips about it that just like went like really, really well, that people would make of it. And that's the reason why like a lot of creators, I'd say, like have started to do really, really well recently, is because of the community that surrounds it and the content that they both, the community and the creator make.
True, yeah. And if I were to give I completely agree with everything Ranboo said, but if I were to give a flip side point, one of the I guess negative things of producing content in that regard is that we already live in a space, and we create in a space that we are sort of slowly losing control over a lot of our I don't want to say art, a lot of our like work, a lot of our streams and stuff over time, because as you grow, you tend to lose a lot of control over what you're putting out there due to things like that. And I feel like it can be a bit scary as a creator when you are seeing your work being uploaded by someone else or like a different platform, and you think, if I change my views on that, if I dislike that, I can't do anything about it. That's there forever. And the permanence of the internet is scary in itself, and sometimes that can compound it. But I totally agree with Ranboo. I think it's a really, it ends up being a net positive for the people involved.
For the people at home who couldn't come, you know?
Oh, yeah, no, yeah, I'm saying that's good. I'm saying it's a good thing. It's a good thing.
Okay. I will choose, is pink hair right? Do you have pink hair? Okay. I'm not sure because of the lighting. But
we have a light right there.
Two giant lights.
It's like the sun.
I was wondering, when was the moment where you guys were like, oh wow, I like really made it as like a content creator? I'm like, wow, this is the moment where like I can do this now. I'm sorry.
I get that quite a lot. I feel that, like, just walking on the stage literally 30 minutes ago, I got that exact feeling of, oh my god. And I don't think I'll ever stop having that, hopefully, you know. I would always want to have that feeling. But I'd say the very first time when I was like, wow, I can do this as a job now, was when I was doing a stream in my starting soon lobby. I had, I think, 80,000 viewers. And that was my moment where I went, oh, this is real now. This isn't just a little dream of mine. And that was I even took a picture of it on my phone. I took a picture of the view count. I was like, what is happening here? That was pretty insane. But I never stopped feeling like that, honestly. And I feel that's a good thing. I want to keep feeling like that. I want to keep feeling that excitement of whoa, you know.
Yeah, I'd say it's about like the same thing for me as well, where I continuously have those moments. Like I think when I first started, like I had that moment like every single day when I would like hit like a new milestone or something. Like wow, like I'm really doing this. And then even like yesterday with like the giant like panel that we had, like the crowd of people, like even like this as well, it's like still like, oh man, I'm really doing this. It's still very surreal to me, because especially because then I'll see like other like content creators that like I enjoy, that I aspire to be or I look up to and everything, and I'm just like, I'm in the same like general vicinity as these people, which is really, really odd, because I remember like even just today, like I was like just like waiting in the lobby to go here, and then I saw like Drew Gooden and Danny Gonzalez and like Eddie just like walk past me, and I was just like, oh, I have the same badge as those people. So I would say that it's definitely a good thing to like keep having those moments of, because it just makes you feel like proud, and it also helps you like realize like how far you've come from the very, very beginning as well.
Do you remember your very first one then?
Oh, I think my very first one, my very first one was when I think I got like 100 views on like the first video that I uploaded on YouTube. That was when I was like, oh my god, people are actually watching this. And or when like the first like TikTok video that I uploaded like started to do well. I remember I was like texting my friend, just like, what is going on? Like, I was like showing them. I still have the screenshots of my TikTok page with like 60 followers, and being like, look at this. There's 60 people, like 60 individual people. And even now I'm still like, there are a lot more into the it's getting really cool to me. So yeah, I'd say like it's a good thing though to have like those like constant moments of like, oh wow, this is really cool.
Cool. Let's go for another one. I want to try something. Let's go for the arm on the aisle behind the blonde person there. Sorry, right in the aisle with you. Yeah, this one. That's one.
Was I stand up for this?
Hello.
Hello. So this morning there was a panel with Mr. Beast and Todd, I can't remember his last name. They were talking about how, at least on YouTube, you should start focusing on making something that you enjoy before trying to appease the algorithm. And Wilbur, how do you agree with that, or do you find any opposition to that? And then Ranboo, how do you compare that to what your experience on TikTok has been?
Yeah, I agree with that wholeheartedly. If you're not immediately working on things that you love, your audience will tell. And I believe in that exact same panel, Mr. Beast said that you should always change the word algorithm for audience when you're asking a question, how can I appease the algorithm? How can I game the algorithm? If you change the word algorithm for audience, and I feel like that truth pervades, if you're making something that you truly enjoy, and that importantly, you'd want to watch yourself, I feel like they'll come. They'll come.
And I would say, for me, the biggest thing about like appeasing the algorithm, especially like on TikTok and everything, is if you only make content that's built to appease the algorithm, sure, it's going to be great for a while. Like, it's going to be good. You're going to start doing, like, you might start doing well. You might start like being like, oh man, like, look at how many views this video is getting. But then you will start to realize that you'll start to get stuck. You'll start to get stuck making things specifically for the algorithm, and you'll realize that like, oh, I want to make this video that I actually enjoy, but I know that I should be making this. Where if you start with what you enjoy, then you will develop and gain the community around what you enjoy as well. You'll like be able to make what you enjoy and not have to worry about being stuck in the algorithm. Because I know that I've seen like a lot of YouTubers recently make a lot of videos being like, I'm just going to do what I want and not care about the algorithm anymore, which is really, really good, because that's the way that the algorithm, I'm saying the algorithm a lot, it's really funny about it. But like, and people don't realize that the algorithm comes from initially what people make that they enjoy, and then when the pattern like presents itself, that's when the algorithm changes. So if you continue to make stuff that you enjoy, you may not realize that you actually eventually might be making things that also appease the algorithm as well.
Absolutely, yeah, because likelihood is your interests aren't that rare. There's probably a lot of like-minded people out there who'd also love to look at what you're interested in. I feel that's important. Yeah, cool. That was a great question.
Okay, I will choose. The person waving with two arms. I like the effort.
What's up? I'm Angel the Bold, and it's a pleasure having you two here. I have two questions. The first one's for both of you, and the second one's for Hank Green. For the first one, do you guys know the lifestyle SMP? And then for the second one, I know you were talking to Ranboo about like how he went from nothing to everything, about his reaction. But I want to know your reaction from him being like nothing and then him coming to everything, and then like you're in the Dream SMP, you're like, oh my god, this is a Ranboo guy, you know what I mean?
That was actually one of my bits for a while, I think. Who's this Ranboo guy? Yeah, go on, you first.
I mean, I think I have heard of what you're saying before. I don't know.
Lifestyle, I think
Yeah.
was it?
I've seen like a couple of videos on it, but I'm not really too
Yeah,
sure.
it looks like a great idea.
Yeah.
I'm always into that kind of stuff. I've always enjoyed like X Life and things. Those Minecraft servers that do an interesting thing with health and lives and things. Yeah, it's a cool idea. And for me and Green, seeing Ranboo come up was actually it was a breath of fresh air. Ranboo, it was nice to see. I always say this as I'm an old man. I'm 25, right? So it's like seeing there being just this huge swath of creators in this age range of, it's some as young as 16 who are just in it for the fun, in it because they love doing what they do. You know, there's no feeling of, oh, you know, I just want all the money. You know, which there definitely are creators who are like that. But seeing all of these people come up who are just in it because they love it, I encourage it thoroughly, and I want more. Bring more up. Yeah, let's keep it going. Replace all the celebrities with wholesome people. Let's do it. Go for next. Let's go for I've got a perfect window all the way there to you in the mask with the hand up. Right, yes, you putting yourself.
What or who inspired you to start making content?
Ooh. I would say, well, there's a lot of people like throughout. I think the people that like had me begin to want to like do content creation as a job was the Yogs cats. When I like first watched their video, it was my first video with the S word in it, and I got in so much trouble. I got in so much trouble for that. But they were the people that like what made me realize like, oh, this could actually like be something. Like they're just playing video games and doing something cool with it. And then I'd say like a big inspiration for just like content in general was like Captain Sparkles for a huge time as well. He was like a huge inspiration, and then the direct inspiration that like made me be like, okay, this is actually something that I might be able to do was like everyone, like pretty much everyone that was like in the Dream SMP at the time, because I was just like, oh, this is like really cool. I really like what these guys are doing. It's really sweet. So I'm like, I'll try, you know. And then for some weird reason, it worked. And, yeah. But yeah, I'd say that like pretty much like a lot of people have been like my inspiration throughout like different time periods of this whole journey.
Yeah, I agree. For me, so I've wanted to do this since I was about 13 years old, which means that a lot of the people who inspired me, I haven't actually watched in quite a long time, unfortunately. But for me, it was creators, which you met one called NerdQ. I was a massive fan of as a kid. Again, the Yogscast were huge for me. I remember watching all of their original Minecraft Let's Play. The very, very first one I remember back in 2009 when 2010 it must have been when Minecraft had just sort of been getting traction. One of my friends at school asked me, "Have you seen the new Minecraft episode from Yogscast?" And I was like, "No," and he went, "You would love Minecraft." I'm gonna go check this out. I got home and I googled Minecraft and I got a bunch of therapy websites. What is he trying to tell me? What is this man trying to tell me? And lo and behold, that started me making a channel, and I made Minecraft videos, and then I swore off Minecraft videos, and now I make Minecraft videos. You always give a lot to the young stuff.
Yeah, you always come back to Minecraft. It just keeps on
happening. Can't get away.
Every single time you say cool.
Yeah, cool.
I dyed my hair for Ranboo.
Wait, are you the person that we saw in the Target parking lot?
Yes, I am.
The person that we saw in the Target parking lot.
Hello. First off, I just wanted to open up with a little thing. I'm Sherbert. Hi, nice to meet you. First off, I wanted to talk on behalf of all of the creators here who have been able to make platforms, including me, partly because of your guys' content. Like, I'm a cosplayer, I stream also, and that is a large portion of that is due to like things like my Technoblade cosplay and that kind of thing. And I just want to say that me, and I guarantee a lot of other people here, really appreciate that, as well as all the stuff you've been able to do for people's mental health and for the LGBTQ community.
Woo!
My actual question to you is, over the last like 10-ish years, Minecraft has been this big game, and it seems over time like it keeps kind of, going down, and immediately has no resurgence. I just wanted your thoughts on that, because a lot of people see it as kind of like a timeless game, and that it will never go out just because of how it works, and that kind of thing. So yeah.
I have a quite controversial opinion on this.
Oh.
Upset some gamers. I think Minecraft is the first video game masterpiece.
Woo!
There have been some wonderful games that have been made, some amazing games, but the fact that Minecraft, that's been around since 2009, 2010, has outsold Tetris from over 70 years ago is just mind-blowing. That's crazy, and the fact that it's able to come and go, and that everyone, even if they've never played it or play it all the time, can agree, yeah, it's good. Like that's so hard. You can't get 50% of people to agree on anything, and yet you've got everyone saying Minecraft.
Yeah.
I mean, there's probably a few contrarians.
Yeah, there's always.
I feel like even they enjoyed it a little bit, maybe.
Yeah, I feel like it's hard because simply of how open-ended it is and how it's like you can just mold it into exactly what you want it to be. So like if you are into like interior design or something, you can just do interior design in that game. It's a sandbox game, so it means like you can do basically whatever you want in it. Like if you wanted to do like role play things as well, like you do that in Minecraft. I don't know, but like I feel like it genuinely will probably always have that kind of like overall like say or like overall like time in the market, because simply it will always go back up because of how open-ended it is and how just genuinely good it is, and the fact that they continue to add more to it for free, by the way, which is really, really unheard of even still. I don't think people realize like if Minecraft was made by like some other like certain developers, that it would probably be DLC. Like it would probably be like stuff that you would have to pay for. So the fact that it's completely free and you only have to pay like $30 once for a game that you can have for 10 years or 20 years that keeps on changing.
I paid £10 for it.
I paid it for free illegally. I couldn't go on any servers.
Have you bought enough Minecraft accounts now to counteract?
I'd say so. I'd say I've made up for it.
Crazy that Phil's have made that entire thing. Anyway.
I have a gift for you.
We'll have to take it at the end. Go on, you pick last? Oh, okay, let's do from this one. How about the round mask there on the aisle? Yeah, you can do this up.
There was one on the aisle, so I was like,
oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to single out the Ranboo masks. Yeah, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And no,
Hi,
my hands
so
are shaking.
I'm sorry, the question I have is not mine.
That's all right.
First of all, I just want to say hi. So when it comes to success and, growing your platform, how do you guys deal with, suddenly having so many people without getting too stressed out and getting too egotistical and over?
You'll have to ask me my trailer, sorry.
Okay, for Ranboo then.
oh man, I mean, honestly, it's really funny that you say how did you handle it without having any stress? There was definitely stress. There was definitely, especially, I think this is more for me personally, as someone who was started when I was 16 years old, and because the time period from 16 to now 18 is really intense emotionally, and when you add on a couple of million people also watching, you have to find your footing with that. It is stressful, but you have the sentence I think that Tom said to me that helped me realize oh yeah, this is something that I do genuinely want to do, but it was getting really, really difficult, was if you list the pros and you list the cons, are the pros still worth having all the cons? And the answer for me then was always yeah. So I would say for just handling it without stress, it's always good to have a little bit of stress with it. Definitely don't let yourself get too stressed about it, but it's also difficult to, just not be stressed.
Yeah.
But I would say that it was very difficult, but it's also something that it's good for a creator to go through, because if something genuinely happens down the line, instead of at the very beginning, then you'll be able to handle it a lot better. And as for not getting too much of an ego, at least for me, I constantly had to remember if I were to go outside and talk to some random person on the street, they would probably have no idea. They would ask what Twitch is. Yeah, that would make me realize oh, okay.
And also they then wouldn't care.
They wouldn't care.
They'd be like, oh, whatever, yeah, I've got your word.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think again that's what I would say too is to step back and look at what you do with perspective when you reach a point like sure me and Ranboo have enjoyed a nice amount of success, but like what we do is comparatively a lot easier to a lot of what people do, and to step back and think, you know, we play a block game. We play a block game and say words, and obviously I would never want to trivialize the people we've helped, because that truly does fill my heart a lot. It's hard to find an ego boost from helping people. I feel like that from helping people it gives something else. It gives a different feeling. The only ego boost I think can come from seeing a big number, but then you gotta remember where the big number came from, and it's from block game.
You have to realize what you did to get there.
Yeah. Place blocks. Go on, you choose.
Oh, I think we have time for one more. I'm getting
Someone did the front. We've ignored the front, but they've ignored the front. Okay, sorry. Oh, it's your turn. Yeah, don't make me do this.
Oh, the thing is, I feel bad. That's the thing.
Yeah, feel bad.
Okay. The person holding the spray.
Okay. You want to edit that?
Yeah.
Cool. Hi. I tried Zero's great. I'm diabetic, so no sugar.
It is good. It is good. I once called it lemonade and I got laughed at in America. Lemonade in England. We call it lemon sprite lemonade. It don't count.
Fair enough. Okay. I had like 3 questions running around my head, so I'm just gonna ask: if you could be transported into the world of any movie, which one would you choose?
Oh, does it have to be a movie? Can it be?
It could be a show.
Oh, Avatar: The Last Airbender. Love that. That would be sick. I'd have powers. I wouldn't be one of those losers without powers. I want to say that I'd be an airbender because it looks like the most fun, but I think I'd be fire. I think I'd end up being every online test I did. When I was like 15 on like the Disney website, I would say, "You're a firebender," and I'd be like, "I want to be air."
Oh man,
That's what I meant.
there's a lot that I would love to just be transported into, but I feel like the one that I would have the most just general fun in, and this is going to be incredibly lame, not as cool as that, like getting superpowers and everything. Mine would be, I would love to actually live in the full world of Ready Player One.
Based.
Because all it is literally like 50 years from now it's beyond.
Isn't it like dystopian?
It is dystopian. That's the thing.
Man's tired of not living in a dystopia.
It'd be pretty fun. No, but I don't know. I would love to just like, I don't know. I don't know why I would enjoy it so much, because I know that a lot of it would be like really, really difficult, but I feel like I also just like look at the technology and be like, well, cool. And then I have to worry about like getting assassinated because I killed someone in like this like random field in the video game.
Not just admitting to a murder. That would be a crazy way.
Is this generation loss?
That is all we have time for. Yes, that is all we have time for.
That is all we have time for.